Hey, this is Byron, and welcome to the Stockmaster Show. Okay, I want to give you an understanding of the stock market because I'm getting a lot of people sending me emails and sending a lot of messages through my comments telling me, Byron, can you explain the understanding of the stock market and how to begin getting in the stock market? Okay, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm Byron Banks, the Stockmaster, and first of all, you have to, when you buy a stock, say you buy a certain amount of shares, you are a tiny bit ownership of that stock. Let's use Amazon as an example. Say you buy 1 share of Amazon. You're still the owner of Amazon, but just a small portion. You see, stock companies, they could say a stock company just starting out, and they need $100,000 to get their business off the ground. What they can do is go to a bank and get a loan, but a bank don't, it gives back 1 to 2% interest, but what they do is they put money in the stock market. They sell shares of their stock. That's exactly what they do. So when they sell shares, say they need 100,000 and they only got 50,000, they sell shares of their stock. If you buy $10,000 worth of their stock, that's 10 more thousand they have until they get that 100,000, and then they can pretty much open up their company. They'll sell their stocks or put it on the New York Stock Exchange or put it in the stock market so they can get them basically to make money. That's all they want to do. They sell shares to make money. That's what big companies do, and small companies as well. I just want to give you an explanation and an understanding of the stock market. There's a lot of people that knows about this too, but a lot of people that starting out in the stock market or just starting out putting money in, they get their online brokerage account, they don't know these things. And I'm trying to give you stock advice inside the stock market. A lot of companies don't do that. There's a guy named Wall Street Trapper. He gives some great information, some great insight, and great understanding of the stock market. A little bit later on this video, I want you to just listen to what he's talking about. Understanding the stock market, like I said, banks only give 1 to 2%. That's why a lot of companies just put their shares on the stock market so they can make money. That's all it comes down to, making money. And as the company grows, your stock grows. As a stock goes up or the company goes up in value, your profit goes up. I want to say it right. But the first thing you want to do is get an online brokerage account, and then ask, do they charge fees, like I said, and do they give margins? That's very important, because if you and first of all, your money is safe. If you get, especially big companies, almost all companies. I always use E-Trade, Ameritrade, Charles Schwab. They're probably the biggest, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more brokerage companies that you can put your money in, and it's safe, and you can get it out the same way you put it in. There's no problem. But once you put your money in there, that's when the fun begins. That's when the New York Stock Exchange, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ. See, the S&P 500 is basically the top 500 companies all together. That's the S&P 500. The New York Stock Exchange is very big. That's I'm gonna let matter of fact, I'm gonna let Wall Street Trapper, the guy, tell you about that right there. He describes the difference between the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500. He's very good at that. But I just want to tell you some of the basics about starting out. What you want to do is, like I said, get your online brokerage account. Make sure they have margins. Make sure they don't charge fees and things like that, because margins is very important. I know a lot of people saying, what is margins? Margins is when you put your money in, they can add more money for buying power. Not for you can take money out. If you put 10,000 in, they're not gonna put another 10,000 in, and then you can withdraw 20,000. It don't work that way. You put 10,000 in, they probably put another 10,000 in for buying power only, so you can buy more stock. You cannot take that money out that they give you. It's not a loan. A lot of people ask me about that. They're like, if I put 10,000 in, and they put 10,000 in, and I decide to withdraw, can I withdraw 20,000? No, you cannot do it that way. You can withdraw 10,000, but the other 10,000 only strictly for buying power. It's funny, really. Like, wow, I can keep on doing that. Keep putting 10,000 in. They give me 10,000, I get 20,000. Put another 10,000 in. They put 10,000, I get another 20. No, it don't work that way. That's funny to me when somebody said that. No, it's strictly for buying power, to give you understanding. Now, the mistake a lot of people are making is they feel that the money is burning in their pocket. They got the money sitting there, And I hear this all the time. I get like 100 comments a day. The money's sitting there and they want to buy a stock, buy a stock, buy a stock. That's how you lose money. Every stock before you buy it has to be researched. You have to research it. You have to do the legwork, and that's what I do for you, and that's my specialty. A lot of people don't do that. They want to pretty much teach the stock market and teach you exactly what to look for before you buy your first stock, which is nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people still make mistakes by doing that. So what I do is I research it and research it and research it some more, and I do all the legwork for you, and I put out there a hot stock for you where I think you can make money. And I think other companies do that too, but not as well as I do. I'm 55 out of 56 towards getting stocks right, and I make money for you. Like I said, last week I made like $100,000 or $200,000 for $200,000 for like 4 different people, and they made a lot of money. But excuse the noise in my background here. I'm sorry. A lot of people doing work back here. So get your online brokerage account. Now, if the money's burning your pocket, you just feel like you need to buy a stock, don't do it. What you do is look at some of my videos. My YouTube channel is at Byron Banks 4576. I teach about the stock market. Now you got to decide which way do you want to go. Do you want to go long term? Do you want to go short term? Do you want to go speculative? Do you want to go dividend trading? Cryptocurrency, options. You got to decide what you want to do, what avenue, what you want to go in. I suggest regular short-term investing, and I suggest the S&P 500 or an index fund, because that's a bunch of stocks put together and it's hard for you to lose money. It don't have that much volatility. You're not going to make a lot of money, but you're not going to lose either. Now what I am is a short-term investor, and I make a lot of money every day, every 5 minutes, every hour, and that's what a lot of people invest in the style and use my judgment towards getting a stock. Now what you can do is, like I said, every 2 days, 3 days, I give a hot stock. You could wait for my information, wait for me to give that hot stock to you, and then use some of your money, some of your capital. Don't use it all. It's another technique when it comes to buying stock. Say if you want to get 100 shares, don't get 100 shares. Get 50 in case the stock goes down. Am I right? Tell me what you think about that. That's another technique that a lot of people use. They don't get the whole 100 shares, they get 50. So if the stock goes down a little bit, then they use the other 50 to double down, so they get a lot of money when it goes up. That's just another technique. But right now, I want to show you this guy. He has a lot of insight on basically understanding of the stock market. And here he is.
The stock market and how does it work. Now, this is truly important, so we're going to navigate through this space like only Trap can do, right? And I know a lot of people really won't get into the market. You really ready to start getting investing, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't even let you get in the market if you don't really know what it is. Of course, you have an idea, but you don't really know how it works. So it's my goal, my job to help you understand how this thing truly works. And just like that, the stock market was going off on my phone, and we not gonna edit that. So I got to get into it first, right? So the stock market is a place where buyers and sellers come together to find a price agreement on a stock. Now, we already talked about what stocks were, right? It's a portion of a company that you get to buy and take full ownership of. Now, the stock market does have 3 indices, right? So you have the S&P 500, which is your 500 biggest stocks. And then you have the NASDAQ, which is 100 of the more innovative stocks. And then you have the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average consists of companies like your Caterpillar, your John Deere, the industrial companies that make up the fabric of America. But we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to dig a little deeper into this. So the NASDAQ has about a $23 trillion market cap, right? Remember, this is your high-flying tech stocks, right? And then your Dow Jones has about a $40 billion market cap. Now, the dope part about this is the stock market does have rules, right? And those rules allow it to be governed by an entity called the SEC. Right, the Security Exchange Commission. Now their goal is to make sure that everybody playing on the same on the same playing field, right? Because without rules, people gonna do whatever they won't do. People going rogue. It's definitely gonna be a crazy thing going on right here. Right now, the first exchange ever was the London Stock Exchange.
Yes, he was very informative. Yes, he was. And what he said made a lot of sense. To elaborate on some of the things he said, you pretty much, you're buying a small portion of the company. And he went back to the beginning, the difference between S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. He clarified that very good. But basically, when you buy a stock, you buy a part ownership of a company, a small portion of the company. That's all you're doing. But I just want to get into, make sure you guys understand, do not buy your stock until you do the full research. Don't just feel your money's burning and buying stocks. But I want you to watch one more video about exactly what you're doing. When you buy a portion of the company, what are you doing? You're buying part ownership. And I want to show you a little bit on that right quick.
And seen people talking about buying the dip or investing in Tesla? Ever wondered what exactly they're buying? Well, today we're diving into the world of stocks, what they are, how they work, and why people get so excited about them. So, what exactly is a stock? Simply put, a stock represents ownership in a company. When you buy a stock, you literally own a tiny piece of that business. Pretty cool, right? Think of it this way. Imagine your favorite company is like a chocolate cake cut into thousands or even millions of slices. Each slice is what we call a share. When you buy a share, you're basically saying, I'll take that slice of the company, please. For example, if a popular streaming service was divided into 10 shares total, and you owned 5 of those shares, you'd actually own half of that company. In reality, big companies have millions of shares, so you'd likely own a much smaller percentage, but the concept is the same. You might be wondering, why would a company want to sell pieces of itself to random people? Good question. Companies sell stocks primarily to raise money. Creating and growing a business is expensive. They might need cash to build new factories, develop new products, expand to different countries, or even just pay their bills. Instead of borrowing money from a bank, which they'd have to pay back with interest, they can sell shares of their company. The money they get from selling these shares doesn't need to be paid back. It's theirs to keep and use. Let me break this down with a story about Maya and her dream sneaker store.
That was a great assessment, a great explanation that he showed you. You're buying a portion of the company, and you are a small part owner. As the company rises, the stock prices rise, your profit rise as well. That's basically what he's saying. You're buying a small bit of the company. But I want to get into, people are buying stock just to buy stock. You cannot do that. That's how you lose money. I can't emphasize that enough. If you're losing money in the stock market, that's why. You're not doing your research. You're not looking to see if it's bullish or bearish. You're not looking to see what the analysts are saying. You're not looking at the volume. You're not looking at the 1 year, 2 year, 5 week. As long as the company been open, seeing how it's been doing. You have not looked at the sector. There's so many things you have to look at before, I can't emphasize that enough, before you buy your first stock. Definitely like, subscribe, and share this video, and study this video, and hit that bell button so my videos can get to you immediately. I try to teach you the stock market inside the stock market, so people get an understanding of exactly what you're doing. That's your hard-earned money that you didn't work for. Don't blow it. I did when I was young. I blew like over $100,000 in the stock market because I did not know what I was doing. I thought I just needed to buy stock, but you always think you're gonna gain, am I right? And it don't happen that way. A lot of times you lose. And then when the stock goes up, you want more, and you want more. That greed set in. You cannot do that. Once a stock goes up, it becomes a bad stock. I'm trying to give you an understanding of the stock market. Stocks go up and everybody thinks it's a good stock. No, it becomes overvalued. It's not a good stock anymore. I'm trying to explain that to you. You're trying to get undervalued stocks. You're trying to get undervalued stocks. That's the main thing you're trying to do. And then when a stock is undervalued, guess what? It goes up. That's the entry point. When a stock is undervalued, there's an entry point right there where you get in right there. That's when you buy your stock. That's all you're doing. If you're doing short-term investing. Now, if you're doing long-term investing, that's a whole different conversation. That's something I know how to do, but that's not my forte. If you're doing speculative investing, that's a different conversation. And dividend investing. Dividend investing is a very hot commodity right now. A lot of people are buying stocks because that particular company is paying a high dividend payout. That's free money in your pocket. They go for stocks that only pay dividends. A lot of people are doing that. I don't do that, but that's another technique, and we can discuss that later. But tell me what you think about my video. Tell me if it was informative. Tell me your opinion and comments. And definitely watch all my videos all the way through if you want to learn about the stock market, towards me teaching about options trading, swing trading, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, cryptocurrency, bond market, everything. I do everything, and I teach on all investments. Now, I'm going to have classes in the near future, but I don't do that right now. You can watch my videos, but I'm going to have classes because a lot of people want to learn about the stock market. If you want to learn about the stock market, contact me on my email address, which a lot of people are doing. That's byron4053@hotmail.com, or leave comments on my YouTube channel. Or you can contact my TikTok channel as well, Byron Banks 7. But I have 3 ways you can reach me. I'm not giving out my home phone number right now, but I want you guys to make money. That's my main objective, and I'm not asking anything in return. I'm like 55 out of 56 towards getting stocks right. Right now, I just put out another stock called CM. C is in Charles, M is in Mary. It's down 20 cents right now, but it's going to go up. It's got good news on it. I made a video yesterday. Look at it. I said everything about that particular stock, and I try to be very informative and honest. That's my main thing I try to do, is honest and not charge you anything for the information that I give. I am Byron, the Stock Master, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye-bye.